Welcome to Short Skirts and a Long Scripture,
where we discuss and create a space to heal from religious trauma.
We're
No
recording.
worries. I've been pulling random little phrases and it's been delightful.
Oh, I've been trying to remember a bunch and I'm like, okay, I know the basic ones, but there was like specific ones that we had that I could not for the life of me remember. And
Did you happen to listen to the full Purity Talk episode yet?
Ours?
Yeah.
No.
Because the ending of that one was the beautiful
Mermaid Salesman.
I've got a Excellent. Okay, wait. One of them was the Mermaid Salesman. Maybe that was the first one. Maybe that was the second one. Whatever episode did I just finish editing?
That one.
The ending was like, oh, it must have been the second of this two-parter.
Oh, Bob and Larry.
It was like, that one is just in the episode, I'm pretty sure.
That's how you wrapped the episode. Literally, you wrapped it there and faded to music. I'm like, that's amazing.
Yes.
I thought that was a stellar way to go out.
It was just delightful. The bonus piece in one of them is some phrasing where we were like, yes, I feel safe. I have a man. I got a beanpole and a polo. Let's go. Or something like that.
Oh my god. It's amazing.
We only had beanpoles and polos.
Well, later on we had, what did we call him? He had a name.
Oh no.
Strongman.
Excellent. Perfect. He can lift the bus.
Because he was the only guy that we had on Bible Club that was not beanpole. I'm like,
that's what I'm saying.
So you need a new name.
Struggle is
Same.
So for the transitions, we need a little piece of something at the beginning of the first one that says, this is going to be a 2-part episode.
Okay.
Something like this. And then we need something at the beginning of the second one that says, this is part 2 of Outreach Mindset. If you haven't heard the first part, it's about blah, blah. Go back and listen to it. Something like this.
Right. Okay. And that's, so yeah, we need the intro for it or at the end of it. At the beginning of the first episode, we want to say, this is a 2-part episode. Or do we want to say that at the end? We can.
That's what
I would say at the end, because then we can wrap it up and we can be like,
okay,
thanks for listening. This was the end of part 1. There's a part 2 of this episode. If you want to check it out, links, below or whatever, something like that. And then probably for the second one, just, welcome to part 2 of this episode. You made it. Woo! Something. But I don't think there needs to be one at the beginning of the first part, because it's going to explicitly say it in the title. It's going to be part 1, blah, 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 and part 2, blah, blah, blah. So we only needed to say it at the end of the first episode. And
that's true. Okay.
I don't even know if there really needs to be anything said at the beginning of the second part, because they're already going to be looking for it. So part 2, there you go. No?
Let me look up how the second episode starts, actually. Because it kind of just starts mid-conversation.
We're good at doing that.
Let me see if I already finished. Let's see.
Good ringing.
How do we start?
How do we start?
It starts with me saying, let's talk about some of the rewards that we got for doing good things, or something like this.
Okay.
So it doesn't even start with a hi or anything.
So
it's just
we
like,
do need to
bam.
have a continuation of part 2 of like, hi, welcome to part 2. This one's going to sound a little weird because we're jumping straight into the conversation of where we left off. So if you haven't listened to part 1, go back and listen to part 1. Something like that.
I like this. Do you want to just say the transition from the beginning?
You know what? Just let me run through whatever is in my brain and we'll just cut and take it.
I like it. I like it.
I mean, I don't know. You might be able to actually use that recording. Who knows? But I'll make a better one. So,
sure.
Ending of part 1. Okay. Hey friends, thanks for listening. That was the end of part 1. We do have a second part to this episode, so if you're interested in finishing listening to the rest of what we have to say about outreach and evangelism on this episode, go find part 2 out now.
I like it.
Awesome.
Yes.
Nailed it.
First try. No more takes.
I am Debbie Reynolds.
Amazing.
Okay.
Best cut right there. Okay, and then we need
intro to part 2.
I might be able to use what you already said, but you can do it again if you want to. I'm going to mute myself, but so it's just you.
What did I say about it?
Unless do we want to do...
I did it really concise and pretty. What did I say? Oh, shit.
It was gorgeous.
I know! Like, take that and the one I just did. Done.
Done. Actually, I think maybe it will be fine.
Let's try it.
If you want to try saying it again, you can try saying something again.
I don't... It was so pretty and concise. Like, what did I say now? Because I wrapped it up all at the end and it was beautiful. Oh, something about if you haven't gone and listened to part 1, go listen now. If you don't want to, this might be a little confusing. Listen at your own risk. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, I like it. Well, I'll take it up. I'll trunk it out. It'll be fine.
If it doesn't work, let me know when we can just like record that in 5 minutes, or I can get on and record it and just you can have that. So either one, but perfect. We'll go from there. Okay, I'm looking at notes,
and then the only other soundbite that I was wanting to record was something for the beginning of episode 4. Because okay. Here's my idea. You can please tell me your ideas. This is going to be episode 4.
Okay. I'm thrown off because I keep thinking this is like episode 5 now.
I know, because the entertainment one was I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's all right. Did you happen to go and try to listen to it even?
I did not.
Because it starts out and you're like, okay, maybe I can adjust the volume. And then it's just like, oh no.
It was echoey on both sides.
No. Not happening. It was bad. It was just awful. I don't know what happened.
It's okay. We'll do it again. It'll be fine. Maybe that wasn't the time to be able to do that one. Maybe we need to do that one later. Who knows? It's all right. So
True. We'll come back to it.
It'll be fine.
We already have notes for it and everything.
We literally do.
We'll just come back. And it will be there for us. Okay. What were your thoughts on the Christianese episode, though? For, like, organization-wise. Because I put some random thoughts, just threw them out there.
Okay.
But tell me what you think.
So, I think for... How should we start this? Because we need to be able to... Let's obviously...
Well, what is Christianese?
Introduce it.
Feels like a good starting place to me.
What is Christianese? You know, give a definition, somebody.
Or if we just start out with one of us just like, brother, I want to pray a hedge of protection.
A hedge of protection.
And traveling mercies for your journey.
Okay, I have a question, and maybe we can put this in there because I feel like it's Christianese. I'm never sure why people did that. And maybe it was because they were like, I don't want to pray in front of people, which I get because I hate praying out loud in front of people. Do you remember when we'd be in like circle prayers or whatever, and people would be like, I pray a silent prayer. The fuck does that mean? Do you remember that?
This is how you participate without participating.
I'm like,
wow,
first of all,
okay.
amazing scapegoat. Was I allowed to use it? Absolutely not.
No.
It was always like the moms and the older women who were allowed to use it because, they could get away with it. I could not.
Yeah.
If we were doing small group prayer, you were required to pray.
I would say, okay, that's interesting that you say that. I would say you weren't required to in the sense that they told you had to, but you were required to in that it felt like an obligation.
It did feel like an obligation. And I wish... okay, here's how I kind of see that. It was not a requirement, and it was an obligation. You felt like you had to, or else you were going to be looked at differently. But I wish that I would have known that I would have had the choice, because it's kind of like going to the eye doctor, which, did you know you had a choice? It's not 1 or 2. Sometimes 1 and 2 are the fucking same. Like, you could pray or you could not pray, but you didn't have an option C. You had to pick A or B.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. And I didn't like praying in front of other people. That was stressful enough. I had anxiety. Did we call it anxiety? Absolutely not.
I gotta add spirit of heaviness.
Spirit of heaviness.
For the depression.
Yes.
I don't know. Did you see all of the phrases that I found so far?
Yeah.
Do you have any to add?
I was gonna look at that. There was
heaviness.
one that I was thinking of.
Go ahead.
So.
No, that's fair.
I feel like I need to find somebody with an archaeological background or archaeological Bible studies background to be able to listen to. I know.
Do you know what my minor was in college?
I know. Because that's how I feel. That's
where you're at right now. That's what you want to soak in.
That's how I definitely kind of relate to the Bible, is looking at it that way, because that makes sense to me. This whole let's look at things that don't exist in a spiritual context, I'm like, I can't do that. I can't.
Yeah.
I need something different. And people still are like, this still applies to us the way that they were saying it then. I'm like, no, it doesn't.
Well, not quite.
He was talking to shepherds and fishermen and people that were carpenters and different shit. No, not the same. Totally different analogies. We have to break that analogy down and reword it for now.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that. Like, I'm reading something that was written to fishermen. All of the parables are about the daily life of these people, which I know what it means now because I grew up learning about it. But if I was outside of that, of Christianity, and was just hearing these parables, I would be like, what are you talking about? So you have to find the basic principle and what he was trying to say that can actually be applied today. Because we can't relate to being shepherds unless you're a farmer.
Exactly.
It doesn't really work.
Yeah. So it doesn't work the same. People like to think it does, but it doesn't. I'm like, no. You're going to tell that parable and be like, this is what Jesus wanted us to know. They're going to be like, I don't fish.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah. But anyway.
I'm not a tax collector.
Right? I'm not a Pharisee. What is a Pharisee? What did they do? What was their entire life's work? What did they believe? What did they think? What was the general consensus belief of that time during this period? Those are the questions I want answered to be able to understand things. So I look at the cultural aspects to be able to be like, okay. Just me.
This is why I like the Bible Project, because that is where they start.
Do they have a podcast?
Actually, I think they do.
I have to look into that.
They do have a podcast. They have a free online school you can attend.
Interesting. Okay.
They have an entire YouTube series talking about books of the Bible, terms in the Bible, concepts in the Bible, how and why the Bible was written, when it was written, who it was written for. It's the whole thing. I love Bible
Oh, I love that.
Can't say
enough. I'm gonna definitely be looking that up. I love the big book that you got that has all the things.
But isn't it glorious?
It's just beautiful to me. I'm like, can I just I want to lay on the floor like a kid with my legs up and just flip through it.
If you're a visual learner, that book is put into video form on their YouTube channel. So if you just look up a book of the Bible, they go through like the whole picture, and he's like talking about it and telling you what's happening in the book. It's great.
Oh, yes.
I love it.
Okay, I'm still trying to think of this phrase that they used at Bible study. Do you have any praise?
Do you have any
praise reports? Praise reports.
Praise reports.
Which basically meant, has God done anything good for you lately?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'm like, I got up.
I'm
out of bed.
Some weeks it's like that. Every week at my Bible study, they ask you praise or prayer requests. And some weeks I'm like a little too open book when I'm in a Bible study context. I will overshare immediately without any reservation. And so some weeks I'm just like, I was really depressed this week. It was not good for me. I have no praise.
So sorry.
Whatever it was. Like this was just my week. God is still good, but I didn't get anything this week. It was not good for me.
Yeah. Damn. Feel that. Most of the time I can't think of anything because it's like, I feel like they need to ask that at the beginning so you can be thinking about it. Instead, they ask you at the end and you're like, I don't know. My brain has other things in it. I got 57 tabs open and music is playing somewhere. So no.
Somewhere in one of them. Can't find it.
Can't shut it off. Can't find it. It's great. Mute doesn't work.
They're there. ADHD.
We're having a great time over here. Bebopping to our own music in our head.
Oh, yeah.
Or definitely. Random phrases that pop up. It's like when you click on a website and there's a video playing and you can't get it to shut off.
Excuse me, why?
It plays every so often, repeatedly, though. I don't know. The other week, my STEM phrase of choice was Crappy Barbara.
I remember this.
Crappy Barbara spent a lot of time with me.
Amazing.
That was my favorite. Okay.
Oh,
all right. Should we jump into this?
Well, I wanted to see if you had any thoughts or input on structure or anything like this. My ideas were we could have a couple different sections. I don't care who reads it, but like if we read out list of terms and the other one gives the non-Christianese definition, or if we read out list of like swear words and then we give you the homeschool version.
Right. So I would say the swear words and you would say the homeschool version.
If you want to.
Well, then we need to list out all of the Christian swear words. Where do you have those? Swearing. Here's swearing. Because there was many different ones.
I was
and not
thinking
all
about
of them
and going through lists and trying to think of them.
We had crud. We had snap. We had heck.
Shoot.
We had shoot.
Actually, were you allowed to say shoot? Because we were allowed to say shoot.
I was allowed to say shoot. Some people were allowed to say fricking.
We weren't allowed to say
minus
that.
The G.
Yep.
Frickin'. Freaking.
Frickin'
hell.
We had son of a biscuit when we were really upset.
Biscuit. Mother of pearl.
Mother of pearl. Okay.
Peas and rice.
Peas and rice. What are you replacing with peas and rice?
Peas and rice, or
cheese and crackers was that one.
Crackers. Okay. Cheese and crackers. Peas and rice. Cheese and crackers. Holy moly. or there was so many.
You weren't allowed to say anything related to
what the snap,
God or holy things.
Because we couldn't say what the crap and we couldn't say what the shit. So it was what the snap. I do remember that one.
We could say holy cow.
Holy cow.
We couldn't say, well, I don't know if we could say holy moly. We could say holy cow. You weren't allowed to have a replacement for the F word, but if you did you have
one? What in the world?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. What in the world? Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, for sure. Fuck. Duck. Fuck. I do remember that.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Honestly, goodness gracious. Oh my gosh, obviously.
Oh my goodness. We could say oh my goodness. We couldn't even say oh my gosh for a long time. But yeah, oh my gosh is a replacement.
Have mercy.
True.
Because we weren't even allowed to say Lord have mercy.
Truly.
What else?
Did you have any replacements for when you wanted to call someone a bad word? Like, we weren't allowed to use stupid.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was allowed to use stupid, idiot, moron. My mom didn't like moron. We still used it.
We could do poopy head. Can't do shithead, but you can do poopy head.
Mom used
Which
to
was
say,
also a bad word.
Mom used to say poo-poo head. Quit being a poo-poo head. Nincompoop. Good questions on here. Good questions. Good questions. Okay, what do you mean about this question? A challenge to share the gospel without using any Christianese. Like, is it a challenge?
Like, if we, I mean, this was just an idea. Like, if we challenged each other, or even just one of us, can you share the gospel in 1 minute without using any Christianese? Just to see how you have to change the language. After we've just talked about all of the Christianese that people use, is it possible to share the gospel?
Okay, so when you...
Because actually, the gospel is a Christianese phrase.
It is. Yeah, I might want to write that one
now that I think about it.
The gospel 100% is a Christianese phrase. So what would you call it if you don't call it the gospel? The story of Jesus?
Yeah, literally.
The story of the Bible? So when we
it depends how you define gospel.
That's true. When we use like the wordless book or something to explain the gospel to kids, the story of Jesus, was that using Christianese or no? Because we broke it down.
That is a good question.
Because we broke it down in order for like it was 6 and 7-year-old to 10-year-old kids to be able to understand it. So you weren't going to use a lot of Christianese because obviously that was going to go right over their head. And they couldn't ask about it because they're kids. They don't know what questions to ask to be like, can you explain that further?
Exactly. That's true. That's a good way to think about it, because I do remember having to do that and sharing the wordless book, and they would be like, I'm younger. Tell it to me like I'm younger.
Yeah, tell it to me like I'm a child that really doesn't understand anything. So I remember them saying that. So would it be an El Manojo de Esperanza, which would be the gospel,
the what now?
The hand of hope. El Manojo de Esperanza. You had 5 fingers. It was the 5 points of who Jesus was, what sin was, how do we get to heaven, here's what you can do, here's the ending, wrap it up shit kind of thing. But even that was Christianese because they didn't explain, like, one of the fingers was everybody has sinned and we need to be forgiven for our sins to be able to go to heaven because heaven is perfect and blah, blah, blah. But you don't explain what sin was. At least in the wordless book, when we were like talking to the kids and everything, you didn't really say sin as much, depending on how old the kid was. You did, but you also explained it a lot further. Because I remember what we used was, sin is anything we think Sarah do that, breaks God's heart, makes him sad, stuff like that. So, and then you would, here's some examples. So it was, but it wasn't all at the same time.
I think you are right. There was a lot of Christianese involved, but for the wordless book specifically, I feel like it was filtered down enough that we didn't use terminology. We just said what it was about.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Maybe. I don't know.
No, I think so. So, okay. And then I need to pull up all these links that we had. Pastoral development delivered. No, thank you. I'm all right. Are we going to use this 12 Christianese words and phrases?
Oh, that one, I pulled the Christianese phrases from it. I just put it in there because I'm addicted to citing my sources because I went through college and it was a big deal.
I understand.
Almost all of the words are in this list that I made.
Okay. Yes.
I just included it because I'm just like, I gotta cite my sources.
Right. Oh my God. No, we're good. And then what is this other one that we had?
I'm not just pulling this out of my butt.
Right. I know. Here we cited. Okay. Let's go.
Good for the pre-record?
Yeah, we're good on that. I did it.
So we're going to stop the pre-record.